That Great Business Show. Winner, highly commended award. Irish Podcast Awards.
Welcome to episode 203 of That Great Business Show. As always, packed with tips, insights and opportunities on every episode. Regular listeners know that we ask all our guests who their hire in a heartbeat would be. Who would they love to have on their team, money and availability aside? On episode 202, Colin Brett of Player Stat Data had a list of 4 people he wanted to hire. And guess what? We've had one positive response so far, and similarly, our augmented reality whiz, Leisha O'Connell, who joined us on the same episode, said she wanted to hire Aoife Barrett, who seems to know more than a lot about selling luxury to the Chinese. And thank you, Aoife, because she's been in touch too. I'm Conal O'Mora in Fáilte episode 203. 2 great new companies in this episode. A sports tech company with some of the most amazing real-time capabilities I have seen, and a business that allows you to walk around your new house before it's built. Stay tuned, as they say. In business, controlling costs is essential. That includes your business fleet's fuel costs. Maxol, a family-owned business since 1920, are big supporters of That Great Business Show. Maxol fuel cards offer tailored solutions for transport fleets of all sizes, delivering efficient fuel cost management for your business at over 700 service stations nationwide. The Maxol dedicated fuel card team wants to hear from you at maxol.ie/fuel cards. Now, my first guest is KPMG Global Tech Innovator Finalist 2024, Best New Sports Business of the Year 2024 at the Irish Sports Awards, Sunday Business Post 30 Under 30 2024, and loads more. And as I say, that's only just 2024. The list is much, much, much longer. Emma Meehan is also a software engineer, having worked with Cisco WebEx. She is a competitive Olympic weightlifter with Connacht Weightlifting Club and a qualified personal trainer. But most importantly, she is founder of Precision Sports Technology that is developing wearable free software to provide real-time feedback and analysis on exercise technique to prevent injury, enhance performance, and increase participation in strength training and high-risk technique-based exercise. But far more important, Emma, I found on your LinkedIn that you maintained stock on shelving, ensured stock rotation and cleanliness of shelves at Spar.
From the young age of 10 up.
It's still up on your LinkedIn. You're running an international company now, and you're telling the world about that you're able to stock Brennan's bread or whatever.
And still doing the bit of social media for Spar on the side. It's like, Emma, will you put up the opening hours there for the bank holidays? Like, sure thing, Dad.
First of all, welcome to That Great Business Show. What a story. Now, I met you, about a fortnight ago or thereabouts, with 2 of your colleagues, and it's very, very, very hard to explain this on what we'll call radio. We need TV to do this. One of them picked up, was it an iPad or something similar, points it at your other colleague, and he does a few physical jerks, and immediately it shows via your software, as I understand it, everything that your colleague, has done right, done wrong, what could be better, etc. Instantly. Mad. Discuss.
Yeah, well, that is our product, Kinetic IQ. So this really came from my own background, my love of fitness, sports, health, and technology, thinking, training in the gym myself, that I knew my technique was off, but I knew how to fix it because I've done a personal training course. I've had that, 10,000 hours of practice in this space. And I thought, well, I don't need a coach to help me, but I know most people do. But surely technology could help with this. So that was the moment the spark came about. End of 2017, started playing around on the Xbox Connect and thinking 3D vision is the way this should be delivered, because people, from my experience, they don't want to be strapping on bits and pieces, complicated setup. I was thinking, right, in my 10-year vision of what should a gym look like, I should be able to go in, get a detailed, individualized program, totally with tech. But if I want to have a physio or coach with me the other side, whether they're looking at it or not, that we can maximize that experience for both sides, essentially. So maximizing physiotherapies, scaling the coaches, along with allowing safer, more engaged and better results for physio patients and for gym goers.
And that's important because we're talking both health and sport here.
Exactly.
It's a vast business. It's a vast market. But go back so that, again, people will understand exactly what I saw. The iPad is pointed. It's the camera being used. And as I say, your man does his ups and downs. And immediately, it is instant. There is feedback.
Yeah, so we're using the new LiDAR 3D scanning technology.
But of course.
This is only in the new iPhone and iPad Pros the last 3 or 4 years. So I was working on this project about, 2 or 3 years before that on 3D cameras external. But when I saw Apple were launching it, I was like, this is the moment where I need to go all in on this. So essentially, what a physio or a coach does is that they can use it to scan their athletes or their patients, and they get instant quantification of their movement quality. It's one thing to see someone do a squat or raise their arm and think, oh yeah, it's a bit off compared to the other side. But it's very different than to show the patient, oh, there's 10 degrees of difference between your right and your left. We want to get this down to 8 next week. So even if patients have the same level of pain, they can still see that improvement. So it's a massive benefit for the physios and the coaches, but this is only V1. V2 are going to be launching later this year. That's going to allow the athlete or the patient to have their own login to the platform. So they can know exactly how well they're progressing and get much more simplified metrics than what the coach might like linear velocity, asymmetry,
You're going to put the poor old coaches out of business because this, you can point it at yourself. Isn't that correct?
You can point it at yourself, but really where we are now is this is an extension of the coach or the physio. So you might use a ChatGPT to help you with writing some kind of an article. But for me, this is AI to help physios and coaches to maximize their outputs. So instead of holding up rulers, as a lot of physios might do, goniometers, they're called in the industry.
Goniometers?
A goniometer.
Gone?
Yeah.
Never heard of it.
So it's like a protractor, essentially, where you'd hold this ruler up to someone's knee and say, right, that's 67 degrees. Write it down a spreadsheet. Professional sports teams are doing this, mind you. My mind was blown when I was talking to them saying, look, how are you measuring movement quality? Oh, we use a goniometer ruler. So with the iPad, you hold it up and you get the instant angles,
which
imbalances, speed.
It's fabulous.
Exactly.
I mean, really fabulous. And obviously, you've been doing a little bit of research on the size of the market. It is vast.
It is vast. I mean, we're really just starting now in sports because of the focus and the need on the problem. So they're willing to go out of their way for these manual angle measurement devices or renting out a motion capture lab. But really, sports now, you're saying sports analytics is about a 2 billion market, but with a 30% compound annual growth rate, which is just staggering. I mean, you don't really hear these figures. People do a double take when they see it. But really, where the goal for this, where we're taking this, is the musculoskeletal health market. And so in the US in 2021, that cost nearly $500 billion in terms of the healthcare costs. And in the EU, the combination of the cost for MSK Health and the loss of productivity after surgeries was about 230 billion euros.
Whoa, that's a lot of money.
Huge, huge market. But you see, we're always going to need physios. But if we can make healthcare preventative, helping people before they even get to the surgery room, that's the goal, because it just makes life easier for everyone.
No more ringing in to say, my back is sore, can't come to work. Because, of course, you'll have fixed them before that even happens.
Yeah, just don't get the pain to start with. I mean, yeah, we're doing sports and physio, but who knows about workplace safety, ergonomics? These are all potential applications down the road.
And I always wonder whether somebody else is out there with something very similar, be it in Alaska or be it in Argentina. There's some fella, some woman doing the exact same research that you're doing and coming up with a similar product.
I mean, there is lots going on in this space now because of where the tech is in terms of AI and hardware. Now, there are a few people tackling this problem, but the approaches I've seen in products have been with multi-phone systems or that 3D dedicated camera or wearables, or on the mobile space alone, you'll just have a 2D camera phone, but then you have to upload it to the cloud, wait, and you have a level of unpredictability then if there is some blurring or confusing lights. Whereas because we're using the 3D scanner, we can exactly see how far away you are from me. Is there a potted plant behind you? Other bits in the gym, things like this. So that's the kind of advantage of using that 3D mobile. And what's most exciting for us now is I saw some leaked photos of the new Google Pixel Pro, which looks like it's going to have LiDAR as well. So that means that we could launch straight away onto the Android market, and we're not just married to Apple, which is something I'd be very much welcoming with open arms.
Of course, and because you have identified the market, have you patented or have you got IP? What's going on there? Because again, I always wonder and worry about people that your great idea, your great business is going to be nicked on you.
Yeah, I mean, patenting is extremely expensive and arduous. So we do have a patentable aspect of the software. We've done out our AI roadmap, and we have been consulting with some IP firms, and they say, yes, there is something here, but we've just closed our pre-seed round. If we were to put a huge portion of that aside into building out a patent, I don't think, and the investors don't believe, we'd have the better return there compared to getting out to market, bringing on customers, building out the product, and then focusing on that paperwork part of the defensibility later.
And basically what you're saying is do the land grab and then worry about the details afterwards. Is that it? Yeah?
Exactly. That's
How much did you raise?
So we have closed our pre-seed round of 700,000, and that was mostly driven by Enterprise Ireland, along with VCs in Austria and Slovenia, and a number of angel investors in Ireland here.
Austria and Slovenia. Where did you find them?
So that was through an accelerator program, the Hummelnest Accelerator. I mean, this is one of those things people think, where did you get money out of Central Eastern Europe?
That's what I'm asking.
So, it was just, I would say to any founder, just subscribe to the newsletters that could pop up with something for you. I mean, it takes 10 minutes in the morning to scan through the new newsletters popping in. I saw one saying, new accelerator program, potential 50,000 for successful companies. I said, okay, I'll drop the application in, it'll take 30 minutes. And then lo and behold, 6 months later, the accelerator and their new partner VC, which was kind of undercover during the whole accelerator, they said, look, Emma, we both really believe in you. You're onto something strong here. We both want to put in 50,000 as part of your round. So
happy days.
Happy days.
And did that just pop out of the ceiling and pop out of the letterbox? You were not anticipating that, were you? Or had you been in chats with them?
Not necessarily, no, because they said, okay, 50,000 for a successful startup. I thought, okay, we are hitting our metrics on the program, but that second 50 to make it 100, that was a total surprise. So Urshka Yetz, who's the partner in the VC fund, she was in our mentor meeting, seeing us going through the challenges, but she hadn't told anyone that she was starting up a new VC fund. So she had seen behind the curtain and she knew what we were going through, where we could potentially go with this. So, VCs, they understand that risk-reward appetite really, really well, and they're willing to take that bet at sometimes an earlier stage than a lot of angels would. So that was really the catalyst then to have the angel investors in Ireland here saying, okay, fair enough, we already have some institutional backing, we know you can take this a bit further.
It does happen like that, doesn't it? They're backing it must be good. That type of thinking.
Yeah. That first one to bite.
And the newsletters that you mentioned, are there any particular favourite newsletters that you recommend?
Oh, well, that one I got from EU Startups. So EU-Startups. There is Sifted as well. And the best one in terms of content I find for founders is James Sinclair. He's a startup founder's manual. Every week he'll post out something on go-to-market strategy or customer acquisition, retention metrics. He's absolutely fantastic. So there are 3 newsletters I would jump on straight away.
That is one I haven't heard of, so I will be signing up for James
Sinclair, Sinclair.
That's all written down in front of me there now. Now, you have already got your pre-seed, but you're not stopping there. You're going again.
No, of course not. I mean, this is deep tech, right? We're not building rocket ships, we're not building catheters, but this is a long AI play. So we have a product now that physios and coaches are paying for. It is on the market. But for the long-term play of that real-time individualized exercise feedback, which we're going for, this is going to take 2-3 years to build out in earnest. And we have customers...
Is that to finally get you have a working model, you have a product, but what are you going to do in the next 3 years? Where does that bring you?
So right now you record your exercise and you get metrics like, okay, your range of motion was 60% or whatever it was. But where we're taking this is if you have a physio program you're doing at home, you can have the software running and it'll correct you as you're doing your exercise, like, shift your elbow a small bit here. It'll be on a color banded basis like a traffic light. Okay, green is good or orange, adjust this. And then red is, look, stop, you have to fix this. And then your practitioner will be automatically notified, okay, I'm dealing with 50 clients. These 3 had some anomalies in their exercise and they're the ones I should prioritize to bring into the clinic or to do even an online assessment with. So we're building out that machine learning model for that piece, building out the data set now. But of course, the US is the key market for pro sports. So we have paying customers now in Europe and India, imagine, of all places, but we'll be kicking off our seed round to really hit that US expansion.
And how did you get into India? Where did you find an Indian customer?
That was in London. So it was a physiotherapy conference in London back in May. And he came up to the stand, demoed the software, and he said, well, can I get this? And they're like, yes, of course. Like, oh, well, can I buy it now? And we, yes, fantastic. This was the first instant buy just from a demo straight away. And he's working in a clinic with 6,000 other physios over there. And he's a researcher in the university there. So he's already trying to get us on like a referral program. So it's like, right, this is a huge opportunity here. But it's a matter now of prioritization while we have such a small team. How do we tackle this physio reseller model versus our plans for a US expansion? Because soccer in the US has been a huge pull for us into there because they are looking for tech to help optimize their processes.
But not just soccer, presumably. Any sport, anybody who moves could be using this. So it's why did you specify soccer?
Oh, I mean, of course, like we've had inbound leads on our website from teams in the NBA and the MLB for baseball over there. But I got a fantastic tip from Enterprise Ireland's New York office and a soccer coach over there in that for foreign companies targeting NFL and NBA teams, they often want to see US referral clients and full-time boots on the ground there. Whereas for soccer, they want to see soccer referral clients and aren't necessarily that pushed about having a full-time US presence yet. It's kind of like our hopping stone. Okay, right, we're validating ourselves with soccer in Europe to win over our first soccer customers in the US. And when we close our seed round, it'll be right. Myself probably or someone else on the team will be heading over there full time. We have 2 guys on the East Coast and the West Coast to really kickstart that operation. And then that's the goal, hit the US for sports for seed round.
But go back to the size of the team. It's a big world and a teeny team. How many are on the team now?
Yeah, there are 10 of us full time. So there's myself, the CCO and lead sports scientist, Sean, our COO, Padraig. We have a BDM in the UK and we have a team of 7 software engineers now. We've had a few grads come back that were interns with myself 2 years ago on their second year placement, then came back for their internship and now they're back as grads. Whereas 2 years ago, I wasn't even paying myself. They were officially employees 1 and 2 in for their summer placement and then seen, okay, now we have a bit of an office together. So they've seen me hacking away, helping them with code, to now they're in with a team where we have an employee handbook and we have travel expenses, actual processes.
But if you go to the States, as you say that you may, what happens then? I mean, what happens to India? What happens to the UK? What happens to little old Ireland?
Well, I mean, it's a matter of upskilling the rest of the team, right? So a big challenge of mine now is I'm looking to rescind the CTO title by the end of the year. So I would identify myself as founder, CEO and CTO, whereas I have my finger in the pie on the engineering designs, on the product backlog, one-to-ones with all the engineering team, which I love, but, I can't do everything as the CEO, so it's right. Let's get the guys to upskill, and that same thing will happen is, right, we'll still need to support our customers and continue to grow in Ireland and the UK. Of course, we need funding to support that, and that's why we're going out so quickly again for our seed round.
For how much?
2.5 to 3 million euros is what we're targeting. And we'll be looking for a lead VC in that for minimum €1 million check. So whether that's Irish, UK or US VC remains to be seen.
Well, if Elkstone and others are listening, which I think they do, is maybe they should have the chat with you. Or alternatively, since you are on Apple already, do you ever imagine, do you wake up in the middle of the night dreaming of, mad riches and that Apple would say, here, give us your IP and we'll give you a big fat check and you can retire?
I mean, it really depends on the buyer and the price, I mean, we all want to have a nice island life in the sunshine and, I do have nice aspirations. But for me, like, my goal is that I feel like I'm here to build technology to help people with movement health. So whether that's being folded into a larger company to support this, or in my mind, I see myself taking this all the way. Like, I can see us being the back-end infrastructure for movement analysis on the internet. So people may not necessarily buy the product Kinetic IQ, but we could be the backbone for a major physiotherapy provider for them doing their online training, or like
white label, basically, is
exactly, yeah, white labeling APIs. That's where this could go, stratospheric, and that's where I'd like to take it. But if the right buyer comes up with the right price, I won't say no.
I love the ambition. Go back 2, 3, 4 years ago. Go back to the time when you were in Spar stacking the shelves. Do you ever kind of have any concerns that, oh my Jesus, this is getting too big or this is getting out of control? Anything like that?
I mean, each day brings a different set of challenges. I mean, you have cash flow management, engineering, sales, fundraising. There's all these different bits to juggle. But I think a really important thing that all business leaders, I think good ones manage well, is that work-life balance. How do you manage stress, workload? Because, look, it is startup. Things do run very, very quickly. But it's a matter of how can you prepare yourself physically and mentally to take on the week.
But you're working in the gym as well. What are you lifting? Some huge weights, clean lifts and all that kind of stuff?
Oh, this morning I was doing my back squats, my power snatches after Galway had lost the All-Ireland, mind you. So
That's probably to get to exercise, not to exercise, the loss. Again, you're back to this thing of one person and so much to do. Doesn't bother you, no?
I mean, this is what I've signed myself up for. Yeah. I knew it wasn't going to be easy because this was my original final year thesis. So when I was presenting it to my professors, they said, well, Emma, you've actually proposed some business cases here for computer science thesis, which they don't normally see. They said, Emma, why don't you build a startup out of this? I said, well, I'd love to, but I have this contract with Cisco. I want to go work in big tech for a while, build up that experience, save some money, very important, and to live life a little, because I knew starting a company would be all consuming and that I probably wouldn't be able to have a salary for a year or two. Like I was 18 months unsalaried and, that is very hard and is something that people do need to consider if they are thinking about jumping over the deep end.
I think it's a huge consideration for them. But then again, you won dreams of the other end of the rainbow. You were talking there about about 18 months without earning anything. Longer term, is it about money? Is it about building a very successful company? Is it about swanning around, telling the world you did something, you built something? What is it for you?
Oh, it's all about impact for me, honestly. I know it can sound very cheesy, but for me, like I'm looking at, okay, what does the future of AI and technology mean? I think AI and tech is about helping people live easier, happier lives. Movement health is critical. People need to move. So many of us are more and more desk-bound. So if I can build something that helps people move better, reduce pain, whether that's hit a gym target or recovering from some kind of an accident. But in the meantime, if we can help sports teams hit their performance goals, well, that's where we'll target. But for me, it's right. Can I build a successful business that helps people in health, but also gives back that, my staff are treated well, that the company, feel fulfilled in their work as well? That's extremely important to me.
And you have to give a few shout outs to people who have been good to you. You have told me that Enterprise Ireland were very good to you and sometimes much maligned. The Web Summit. Did you tell me that your first customer came from the Web Summit?
Exactly. I mean, we were one of the 20 startups picked last year for the Irish Island, as they called it. So we hopped over there. To be honest, my expectations weren't that high because I've been to some tech conferences before and sometimes they can be a bit too techy. You don't get outsiders, let's say. We weren't expecting customers there. But we had a personal trainer come up to our stand who hadn't heard of us before, saw the demo and he said, wow, so I could use this for my practice. Now, it was November. We hadn't launched yet. When we launched in January, he was our first customer straight off the bat. He said, look, this will help with my practice. And then that helps get the ball rolling to get everything over the line for our pre-seed funding. So Web Summit got our first customer there. And, there was a bit of controversy last year over it. But with that controversy, it worked out very well for us because we got a spot in the main stage pitching.
I was going to say, it wasn't your controversy. So get over it. And who cares so long as it suits you. And
make the most of it. Look, you just take every opportunity as a founder.
Actually, speaking of opportunities and all, where else and what else would you recommend founders to do? You've already told them they're going to be poor, that they're going to work forever, and it might not work.
I mean, yeah, the newsletters for sure, but physical and mental preparation, I mean, you can't understate it. Like, you hear the stories of, 80, 90-hour weeks as a startup. I mean, people do ask me, how many hours do you work? You can't really put a finger on it because it's okay. Is it the time I'm sitting on my laptop or is it when I'm, waking up in the morning and the thoughts are rushing in or I'm in the gym? I'm still kind of in that product-y space. But really to have good sleep, good nutrition, make sure you have something, whether that's gym, running, swimming, taking a walk outside, have something where you can get moving and make sure that you are physically ready to take on the week. Because if you're just hyped up on energy drinks, as I am a lot of the time, but you need sleep, you need exercise to get you through it all. We're all humans at the end of the day.
And we have a final question that we ask all our guests about who you would hire in a heartbeat. You just heard me saying there that it has, just from even last week, it's worked not once, but twice, is that we make connections. Is there somebody with whom you would like to connect and that you might actually get some business out of, or that you just think that their brain is so brilliant, you want them and you want them now?
I mean, my first hire in a heartbeat is a local one, Adam Callahan, who was an intern with us for 3 months, PhD in AI machine learning, also a gym nut. So he's the perfect first hire for us once we hit this next fundraising target, let's say. And
does Adam know you're looking for him?
Oh, he does indeed. But the cheekier, more ambitious ones, I mean, there's a lot to be said for high performance sport and high performers because they have that tenacity, I love to call it. When the going gets tough, they'll keep on going. And Venus, Serena Williams, they've had amazing success now moving into business and venture. So, they'd be wonderful. But also a very cheeky one would be Johnny Sexton, one arguably the best high performers in Ireland, who is now, off the back of his amazing career. So I'd love to have a chat with Johnny Sexton, see what's next, his business of interest.
The other lad that you should have a chat with, of course, is the guy that I founded this podcast with, Jamie Heaslip. He's another one who, because his actual training is, what do you call that thing about biomechanical body movement? That's his background. I think he was designing artificial arms and things like that for humans.
Fantastic. I didn't actually know that. Jamie and I have met a couple of times. We've had great chats, but I didn't actually know that about his background.
There you go. Well, there you go. He might be able to add something to you there as well. Emma, thank you so much. You came all the way on the bus from Galway just to join us on That Great Business Show, and we really appreciate it. Anybody who wants to find you, give you cash, give you loads of moolah, where will they find you?
Yeah, well, they can find me on LinkedIn, Emma Meehan, Precision Sports Technology. Our website is precisionsportstech.com. And anyone can email me directly, emma@precisionsportstech.com.
And be careful with that about the precision one, because I did obviously Google you, and I think there were sports suppliers came up. They were selling me gloves or goalies gloves or something like that.
Precision sports. So the tech is a very important component there.
Okay. So don't buy the goalies gloves, but do buy the this fantastic piece of software. Emma, thank you so much again for joining us on That Great Business Show.
That
Great Business Show.
Maxol, a family-owned business since 1920, has introduced Maxol HVO Pro, a low-carbon emissions fuel, to their network. This low-carbon emission fuel can play a key role as part of your business's sustainability strategy. Available at selected locations nationwide for fuel card customers, Maxol HVO Pro is 100% renewable biodiesel with up to 90% lower carbon emissions. It's compatible with most newer diesel engines and is recommended for fleet vehicles. Visit maxol.ie/HVO Pro for more information.
De facto, the revolutionary shaving oil, changing the face of shaving. For the smoothest shave of your life, just add water. No more lathering up or cleaning up afterward. Just add a few drops of water and you're ready to go. De facto's blend of all natural oils hydrates and protects your skin. Perfect for all skin types and lasts so much longer than traditional foams or gels. De facto, a shaving revolution. Just add water. Available from selected pharmacies and from defactoshave.com.
That Great Business Show. Winner, highly commended award. Irish Podcast Awards.
I got a call the other day from one of our greatest supporters, Tom Murphy, who is founder of De Facto Shaving Oil, amongst many other businesses that he's involved in. And he had just heard about a company called Life Size Plans, and he thought they would make interesting listening on the podcast. When I checked out the business, I thought to myself, why didn't anyone else think of this before? It's so simple, yet so brilliant. If you're building a house, planning a renovation, adding a room, moving into an office, it's bloody useful to see your project life-sized before you press the start button. Yes, that's the business. You walk around a life-sized plan of your project, housed in a warehouse, where you can see where the sockets are, where the island is, where the storage is, where whatever is, and you can see it. It's gorgeous. John Foley and Emma O'Donoghue are owners of Life Size Plans Leinster, and they join me in studio. Welcome to you both.
Thank you very much for having us.
Now, we were just having a little preliminary chat there about where the idea came from. I'm sure, Emma, that you told me that it was your idea, but the row started immediately.
Well, look, all good ideas come between the two of us. But as I was telling you, it came when we were looking to do a job on our own house. And John wanted me to visualise, and my background is not the industry. And he went in search of somewhere to bring me.
You are a nurse.
I'm a nurse, yeah. So I'm a very practical person, and I was managing a ward at the time and on maternity leave. And one thing led to another. So John went in search of bringing me on a visualisation journey and found that no such thing existed here. And then
we came across a technology that originated from Australia, and the technology enables people to visualise their dream home before they build, and it gives them an opportunity to walk through.
And why didn't anybody else think of this before? I keep thinking of it. It's so simple.
And that's one of the common things we hear from architects that come into the showroom. It's like, it's so obvious. And, you know, it's not until you see non-technical people or people that find it very difficult to visualize, for which there are quite a few we're learning out there, that it just enables them to have a new dimension of understanding of what it is they are spending 2, 3, 4 and 500,000 on.
Correct, yeah. And of course, anybody just looking at a plan, it really does not tell you. Of course, to an architect or to somebody trained, they can tell you where the sockets are. But when you're walking around what I have seen on the video, on the website, it just makes it so much easier. And so you say, that socket isn't high enough for me or whatever.
Absolutely. And we often get people to stand on opposite sides of the room, say if they've gone for big open plan living and kitchen, to be like, this is your space. This is how far you're shouting for your cup of tea. This is the movement space you have where you're cooking. You know, everyone lives a little bit differently, and it's really nice for people to come in and they really get into it. It's like, okay, so if I was chopping up here, I want people on this side of the island so I have my space to work, but I can still chat to them. And it's those sort of practicalities about how people live that we really encourage them to work through while they're in the space.
So have we lost a nurse?
We'll see. For now we have, but maybe not forever. We'll see. I don't know.
Because where does the business go? It is, now I always noticed, or have since I was introduced to it, you have Leinster written on it. Is it, do you only do Leinster, or are you only...
We've taken the franchise for the technology exclusively for the island of Ireland, and we live and we work in Dublin. So we decided to open up our first location, and decided that to communicate to everyone in the province that the best name was Leinster.
And it's
wouldn't say anybody in Munster or other places will agree with you.
Well, the grand plan is to maybe have more in the future. For right now, we focus on the first one. But obviously we would
What's been really remarkable is those that come to travel to us. We've had people from Donegal, from Kerry, from Clare, from all over Ireland, and not even stopping there. We've had people fly in from Croatia, Estonia, Mexico.
Where did they hear about you?
TikTok.
Mad. And look, that then starts me thinking, are you going to open a base in Croatia? Are you going to...
Absolutely not. Well, look, our exclusivity is in Ireland, and our core focus is in Ireland. My background is from the industry, and what really attracted...
You've got a big background in the industry. You've
Absolutely.
got pieces of paper coming out your ears.
Yeah, well, look...
he likes to do a lot of study.
I love construction. I love building things and creating things. And what really attracted me to this is from my past experience. One of the commonalities I see on any project, whether it's private, residential or commercial, is the implication of change. And the implication of change when a project is on site is much greater financially to those that are made before you start work on site. And what we do is provide people with a portal where they can make the changes before they become costly and time sensitive on site.
And how did you find it? Obviously, was it a Google search? How did you find this Australian crowd?
So initially it was a Google search, and then through the search we found that about 7 years ago, when the business was created by the founder Chris Galeb, he went on to a program called Shark Tank, and he pitched the idea to investors.
Sharks.
And is this an Australian Shark Tank, which is
yes, Australian.
Our Dragon's Den?
Yes,
Absolutely.
exactly. And as soon as I saw the technology and the application of it from drawing on my own personal knowledge and experience of dealing with contract management on commercial projects, I could see huge parallels and application of value been delivered to the couple that are looking at building their dream home. But it doesn't stop at residential. We work with quite a few commercial clients also.
I noticed that as well. So therefore, you're going to move into a new office and then you have to work out where's the boardroom going to be, where's the kitchen going to be, or whatever, all that kind of stuff.
Yeah, absolutely. Like a really good example was only recently we had a restaurateur in and he brought his head chef in. So where you would have the commercial kitchen laid out and huge expenditure on commercial kitchens. You could be talking upwards of 250, 300,000 euros and some more. Yeah. So it enabled, before any of the commercial kitchen was constructed in the facility off-site, that the head chef could step into his kitchen before a single dinner was made and optimize the layout to ensure the maximum efficiency of the restaurant. And that, for us, seeing that value been delivered, it's just refreshing.
It's also, if I read correctly, quite affordable.
It is.
Who wants to chalk money?
Emma.
That's my side of the business.
The shillings and pence.
How much for somebody who's building a 3-4 bedroomed house and that you just want to walk around the house? How much is that going to cost?
So we kept it very simple. So up to 2,000 square foot is 697 plus VAT.
That's what I thought.
Yeah.
That's very affordable.
In comparison to what they're spending and the way...
You bet.
Do you know, the way we say to people as well, if they make any changes in the session, what would that cost them on site? And every single session that we have had through has made changes and multiples.
My next question exactly is, did anybody come into you and say, oh my jeez, this is a terrible design altogether?
We've seen some clients come in with homes up to 240, 250 square meters. And when they're in the space, they realise we don't need this size space.
Lovely.
And they've left with a house gone from 260 square meters, and when they leave, 210. And in the current economic climate that we're living in, 50 square meters of residential construction costs.
At 10,000 metre is it? Square metre, is it?
It depends on your specification and finishes, but it's a lump sum.
Covers the price of the walkthrough.
It's better to figure it out on the floor of our studio rather than when you're on site and the raft is cast, the horse is bolted.
And I would say it's not even that. It's for some people when they come in, they aren't really nervous about the build. There's an awful lot of anxiety. There's a lot of stress. They're spending a lot of money. They don't know if they have everything they want. So there's nearly a relief when they leave that they know, okay, this is how I want it to be. It's okay, let's go. Let's start the project. And for some people, they said they've had planning for ages and due to the increase in costs, they've been delaying. And it's nearly said that it's reinvigorated the project for them, which is
That's good, yeah.
It's a very practical session, but it's a really nice experience for people. They both get on the same page, or sometimes we have many people who come through a session, but it has that element to it as well.
How long does a session take?
Standard house, about 2 hours.
Yeah.
We always leave a bit of buffer time because every client is a little bit different and some people need a little bit longer. And particularly if they find an area of the house that they're not happy with, you can get stuck there for a while and we make sure that they get it right before they go.
Emma, how long are you involved in the business?
Oh, since John conjured up the idea. So we're actually a year officially open this week.
This week.
Well, congratulations on that. Now, that was a leading question, Emma, because I've already asked you, have we lost a nurse? What is it like running a business relative to running a ward in the Mater Hospital?
Well, I would say running a ward comes with its chaos. So
that's why I would have understood that, yeah.
And I always think of nursing, it's a very practical, hands-on, dealing with situations on your feet. And I think that has benefited me in this because there's obviously ups and downs in your first year. So I think it has fed me well, the experience that I have.
It hasn't driven you back to nursing yet.
It hasn't driven me back to nursing yet, but I do keep in frequent contact with all the girls to know what's going on inside, and we'll see what happens down the line. But for now, I'm very happy where I am. And you are a husband and wife team. Tell us about the rows.
The rows?
That's what I said. The rows.
Never row. We sometimes say to each other, okay, it's time to turn off husband or wife mode, because it can get emotional when you're arguing at home and you can't bring that into work. But it's been really good. I'd say it's strengthened us.
Absolutely.
That's nice to know.
Yeah.
That's nice to hear, yeah.
Yeah.
And in terms of the future and growth and all, now I'm hopping ahead. You're only 1 year in to the first of your, do you call it a warehouse? What do you actually call it?
So it's an industrial unit. So it's a 6,000 square foot industrial unit.
But we like to fancy it up and call it a showroom.
Which is.
Well, it is. Look at that. There's enough money gone into it to
Absolutely.
And what are you using? Do you need an architect's drawings and then you fiddle around with lights and
we utilize
action and
projection technology? So we take the architect's design, whether it's in PDF, DWG, or even model format, and then we bring it into our system and we blow it up to the actual size of the project. And that's in the plans, but we can also do it in elevation as well. So for someone who's struggling to visualize what the elevation or section or ceiling heights are, we can project them onto the walls. And then for commercial clients where they're utilizing, say, model information, we can have the model information projected onto the wall. So whilst you're walking around a 2D floor plan, you can be immersed into the model that's on your cinematic screen right ahead of you.
I love it.
So we've got 11 projectors that are all working together.
Yeah.
So it's really exciting when people have colour in their plans or colour in their models, because it really brings the session to life. And we say to people, send everything I have. If it's a site plan for a house, or like John said, the video fly-throughs, whatever it may be, and we utilise all of the walls at the same time. So you're just fully in it.
Mm. The architects, have they bought into this, or do they think it's a threat to them, or do they say, you don't need that, you need us only?
It's very interesting, and we bring architects in, and if there's any architects listening to the podcast, I'd urge you to reach out, connect with us, and what we'd be very happy to do is to provide you with a demonstration of our technology where you can come in. We will load one of your designs and you can physically experience what it is we do and the value that we bring. For those architects that are innovative and at the front of their game, we see them as being strategic partners. One, because when they come in and they see what we can do, and from my own personal knowledge in managing design processes, clients can have multiple meetings with their architect where they're continuously learning and evolving the design. And what we do is we provide architects with a short circuit for them to be able to convey the design that they've developed for their clients, enabling them to save time and money on their prelims and increase their profitability.
Oh, good. They like that.
Absolutely.
So, sorry, Emma, you were going to say?
I was going to say, for the architects who've been through, they've been back. Do you know that sort of way? So there may at times be a skepticism of, sure, everyone can see it. And once they come in and they see the client's reaction, and that's what we always say to them for the demonstrations. If you want to bring a client and then you can see it, we know you can visualize. We know that that's your expertise, but it's for your client. And when they see their client's reaction, they're like, aha, okay, I can see where this is going to help, as you said.
It's interesting as well, for some of the architects that work with us on a regular basis, we've built up a level of trust with them to the point now where they see us as an extension of their business, where they have the confidence and certainty that what we're providing enables them to send their clients to us. We will capture any comments, changes or observations during the session on their behalf and forward them on to them at the end of the session, sort of like a set of meeting minutes, if you like. And one of the core things for us, even with my background, is I will know what's permissible or what's allowed in terms of layout changes and everything else. We're not there to redesign your home. What we're there is to make sure you understand the design that's currently presented.
The good news for you is half of my family are all architects.
Excellent.
Brothers, sister-in-laws, nephews, nieces.
And how have they
What do they think? That's what I was going to say.
How have they received the idea, or have you told them?
I haven't told them. This is we're only recording today. I will be sending it to them. Don't worry.
Fantastic.
And they will have to listen for once. So I know, Emma, you're my gateway here to the truth. When are you going to open the second unit and where?
So for right now, there is no plan for the second unit. For us, I suppose there's a big thing around, we were starting a business and we're also bringing a new service to the industry. So there's a big learning curve with that to get that out there. People don't know to search for what they don't know exists. So we're really into getting the word out there. If
Tom Murphy had not mentioned it to me, I would not have known that this existed. So that in itself, word of mouth is going to be huge for you.
Absolutely.
Huge.
And
you said that you have the island of Ireland, which is fantastic. Does somebody have the UK at the moment, or?
So I know that there is a company in negotiations with Lifestyle Plans Australia for the UK.
And it's not you.
No, it's not.
Would you not be kind of, I won't say, greedy is the
question.
Right, greedy is the wrong word, but it's, just 10 times the size.
It was discussed.
Before we made the decision to invest into the business, like we obviously done our due diligence on the number of projects that are completed in Ireland per annum on the Central Statistics Office. And We believe that, it's a fantastic service. It delivers fantastic value. And if we're able to capture a percentage of that market, I think we will have achieved our goals.
You'll be happy. Cool. So in terms of the people who are going to use it, has anybody turned around and said rubbish?
No, not at all. And actually, interesting enough, tied in with our one.
Are you telling the truth?
I will, and I have a reason to tell you the truth. Because as we said, we're celebrating our 1 year anniversary, we've actually introduced a 15-minute money back guarantee. So if there's people on the fence, they can come in, and if after 15 minutes they say this adds no value, they get a full refund and off they pop. Because we sometimes find if it's a couple coming through, one might want to do it and the other won't. So we say, look, here's your chance.
To lose? That's what I'm in my head. It's
win-win.
A no-brainer.
Yeah.
It's so interesting as well. Sometimes we get clients that are trying to, say, stick within the certain category. So up to 2,000 square foot is 697 plus VAT. So they'll say, look, leave the first floor off. We'll just do the ground floor. Now we always know, and this is why we're introducing the money back guarantee, because we have such confidence in the service. We've had it happen about 8-9 times where they said, no, we'll just do the ground floor. And then we're at the end of the session. They're like,
do you have time?
Do you have time to keep going? So
they always
if they have a bathroom upstairs, they're not going to see the size of the bathroom or the layout or the whatever.
I think it's because they're on the fence. So they're like, well, sure, downstairs is what we really, really care about. And then when they see the value they've got, they're like, okay, let's extend. Let's go to the bigger price point, which isn't huge. It's not a huge difference. It goes up to 897, up to 4,000 square foot. They extend their session. They do their whole house, and they're like, why does everybody not do this? Why is this not mandatory?
Well, I said that to you outside because it should be, just to make sure that people get what they want.
To put it really simply, when people buy cars, they take them for a test drive.
Absolutely.
Like, you spend so much more on your house or your extension, whatever the case may be. Why not put that investment into it? And I think as well, we're finding people really want to be more informed now. And there's lots of people going the self-build route, that they're managing it. So by doing this, they feel really, over the whole thing.
But even if you're doing a renovation, I mean, you don't have to build. You just want to see, where should my island be or my sockets be or whatever.
It's sometimes harder to visualize the space you're changing. But it's nearly harder when you're living in a space to imagine that wall gone and this moved. Whereas if you have a blank canvas, you've got flexibility. So we see both.
All of those build shows on TV, and you see people who haven't got, I'm sure they're very nice people and they're very good at whatever they do for a living, but they have no imagination at all.
We scream at the telly a lot because they're like, we can't visualize it. We're like, come to life-size plans. Like, we do it a lot.
But that's why you should be in the UK as well.
Oh.
Well, we're already husband and wife, business partners here, and we've got 2 young boys at home. Okay. Our hands are full for now.
We'll let you off with that one. Now, I did ask you before we started this chat whether you had received our email, and you had. That's always a good start. About who would both of you hire in a heartbeat. Have you got one each, or you can have 3 each if you want? I had a guy on last week who had 4, a choice of 4.
4?
Yeah.
And you let him do that?
We are open because we're trying to help businesses. And one of the people who he named has already come back, and we've made contact. So that's cool as well.
That is cool.
Yeah,
fantastic.
Yeah. So, Emma, who would you hire in a heartbeat?
Well, we debated this.
Don't say John Foley, because that's not allowed.
I've already got him. He's fine. So we were trying. Well, we actually thought long and hard about this when we got the email, and I suppose we thought about what's the biggest thing that we need to achieve, and it's getting it out there. So we were trying to think about the people of Ireland and how that would work. So I suppose we have a top 3-ish. So the likes of Dermot Bannon.
Yeah, that's a good start. Yeah, has Dermot been to you yet, or have you been in contact with him?
He hasn't been yet, but he knows about us.
Oh, that's a good start.
It's a good start.
Yeah. Because everybody in the country knows Dermot Bannon.
Hugh Wallace, who has been to us.
Yeah. And I know Hugh because he has been on a previous program that I did, and he is such a nice guy.
He's fantastic.
Such a nice guy. Yeah. And he was great, came back. He did some recording with us to really give us a boost.
Brilliant. So, good for Hugh, yeah.
And then another person who's been in with us, Sarah Cosgrove. So she's been in multiple times. And
absolutely.
We also know that we want to hire her as well when we do a job on our own house down the line.
That's the irony. It all started off with our own extension in mind, and with the designs that we see coming through, the inspiration that's there is fantastic. And now we're getting the opportunity to work with some of the country's best architects. And when you see the caliber of work that they deliver, in the showroom. It's nothing short of a privilege.
Yeah,
It really is. The
That
work.
is a nice thing to say about that profession, because they're RIAI are going to love you for that. There's a lovely lady called Catherine Meehan who runs the RIAI, and I'll make sure that she hears this.
Fantastic.
Because that is a definite thumbs up for the profession. And you're dead right. Some of the architecture is
It's
just
art.
It is art. Actually, it is
It's
art.
art.
It's gorgeous, yeah.
But for us, we just feel if we had all of those working with us, it would help get the word out that this service is there. Might even get a slot in one of their TV shows, you know.
That's not a bad idea, because you know the way that Dermot Bannon brings them off down to look at Stone or to look at somebody else's. Why would he not bring you in? I don't know. Is that series still running, or is it coming up for another one? Good.
It is, yeah.
Cool. Well, that makes a lot of sense. Is that he would bring a client down to you to walk around?
Yeah.
Or maybe that would undo the big reveal. Maybe not. Anyway, that's a different thing.
That's a different story.
And one of the other questions that I frequently asked, but you've already answered me this, is you don't need funds. You are self-sufficient. You are...
We're very much a family business, so it's me and John, and then we've also dragged my dad out of retirement as the third director. But we do the day-to-day stuff.
He was happily retired in Portugal, and we keep him on his toes.
That is lovely. And the two kids are what ages?
2 and 4.
Well, they're not going to be taken over just yet, but maybe 6 or 8 years' time, yeah?
But they love coming to the showroom and we stick down running tracks, and I think they think that's what we do in work all day.
What do you mean you're sit-down running track?
So, because we've got the projectors, we can project anything onto the floor.
Oh, now, hang on a second now. There must be another business in that.
Event space.
Absolutely, yeah.
Why didn't you mention this earlier?
Oh, well, look. You always have to keep a cherry.
I just love business and businesses and the possibilities of twisting that a little bit there. There's another lovely business for you. Of course, you're going to be busy, yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. It's definitely another string.
So anybody, where is the warehouse? Sorry, the showroom. Sorry. Where's the showroom based?
Just off the Colmore Road in the Westlink Industrial Estate. So we want it to be accessible for everybody.
Easily accessible,
Yeah,
certainly
absolutely.
from outside the city as well. Yeah, that's cool. Very good. Well, those were Emma O'Donoghue and John Foley of Life Size Plans. That is the correct word. And then stick in Leinster, but I don't think you even need Leinster at all. It should be island-wide. And that should be it. And thank you so much for joining us on That Great Business Show.
Thank you very much. Thanks for having us.
Thanks so much.
De facto, the revolutionary shaving oil, changing the face of shaving. For the smoothest shave of your life, just add water. No more lathering up or cleaning up afterward. Just add a few drops of water and you're ready to go. De facto's blend of all natural oils hydrates and protects your skin. Perfect for all skin types and lasts so much longer than traditional foams or gels. De facto, a shaving revolution. Just add water. Available from selected pharmacies and from defactoshave.com.
It's all go, let Chrissy know on thatgreatbusinessshow.com.
That Great Business Show.
And that is it for episode 203 of That Great Business Show. Great business insights and inspiration, as always. Maxall, a family-owned business for over 100 years, advertise with us so that you can get the best tips and insights for your business. So return them the favour and sign up for their fuel card. It really is great for your business. And also sign up for your own personal copy of the podcast at thatgreatbusinessshow.com. Share us, like us, give us 5-star reviews. It all helps. And of course, like you, we're in business, so do advertise with us. If there are topics you want us to cover, contact us anytime on LinkedIn, where we have an ever-growing community. Those grunts in the background was the sound of Connor Eustace doing the heavy lifting on sound. And later, Dublin South Podcast Studio Manager Peter Rice and post-production engineer Neil Horner give us the full AI treatment to make us the world's best-sounding business podcast. So for me, Conal O'Moran, buchas to you all, agus slán talk.